Hi, this is Delia from Delia Creates, and today we are making this woven plaid crochet scarf. You'll need DK or size 3 yarn in 3 colors. I used an acrylic blend called Feels Like Alpaca and superwash merino wool yarn from Lion Brand. You'll need about 110 yards of red, 470 yards of white, and 540 yards of yellow. Of course, exchange the colors with others however you like. See the written pattern on my website for more details. You'll also need a 3.25mm hook. This is smaller than is recommended on the yarn label, but it's what we need to get a tight gauge. Lastly, you'll need a small yarn needle for weaving in ends and a large yarn needle for creating the plaid design, as well as some scissors. Start with white and give yourself plenty of slack. Then tie a slip knot and insert your hook. If you're brand new to crochet and need slower instruction, check out my Crochet Basics series that covers all the stitches we use in this project. Then chain by yarning over and pulling through the loop on your hook. Chain a total of 85. Now count 5 stitches over from your hook. In the 5th chain we will work a double crochet. To double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain, yarn over again and pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. Yarn over again and pull through the remaining 2 loops. That's a double crochet. As you can see, we've created a rounded sort of box. We're going to create a whole row of boxes. To do this, chain 1, skip the next chain, and then work another double crochet stitch. Now we have 2 boxes. Continue chaining, skipping 1, and double crocheting into the next. Once you get to the end of the row, you should have 2 chains left. Chain 1, skip a chain, and double crochet into the last chain. To start the next row, we are going to chain 4. 3 of the chains will count as a double crochet stitch, and 1 chain will act as the gap between double crochet stitches. You want your chains taut, but not too tight. Then turn. You can also turn then chain if you want. Both ways work just fine. Then work a double crochet right into the top of the next double crochet from the previous row. We are now creating a grid of boxes. To keep them lined up and straight, there's one thing you need to keep in mind. So chain 1, and then when you go to work the next double crochet, make sure to insert your hook through the middle of the top of the double crochet, right there. This is partly why I like to use metal hooks, because they have a somewhat pointy tip, which makes this step easier. Work a second row of boxes, and now we're going to switch colors. We need to do this while completing the last stitch, so chain 1, insert your hook into the middle of the chains from the beginning of row 1. You want to work from the middle chain so the side will be square. Working from the top chain makes it lean too much. Work your double crochet stitch, but stop before yarning over and pulling through the last 2 loops. Now grab your accent or red yarn and lay it over the hook, leaving a 5 to 6 inch tail, then pull through the last 2 loops. This is how you change colors between rows. Pull on all the tails to make sure both colors are secure. Then start the next row like normal, chain 4 and turn. Then create another row of boxes, or what are called mesh stitches. After that first stitch or 2, I like to pull on the tails again to make sure they are secure. Then I cut away from the previous color, leaving a 6 inch tail. When you get to the end of the row, insert your hook into the middle, almost bottom chain from the previous row. Again, not sure why, but this is key to keeping the sides square. We're switching back to white, so change colors like you did before. Cut away the red yarn after a few stitches, then work 2 rows of white mesh stitches. After the second row of white, switch to yellow, which you'll work 3 rows with. The process is pretty repetitive for this part. Simply work rows of mesh stitches for a total of 197 rows and follow this pattern. 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, 3 yellow, 1 white, 3 yellow. Repeat 16 times and then end with 2 white, 1 red, and 2 white. It should look something like this. When you get to the very last row, simply tie off the end by cutting a 6 inch tail and pulling it through. Due to all the color changes, we have a lot of tails to weave in. Grab your smaller yarn needle and thread a tail onto it. Simply weave the tail through the stitches in the same color until you run out of tail. I also like to use the tails to clean up the sides and make the stitches where the colors changed more secure. When you don't have enough tail to keep weaving, then trim off the excess and repeat for all the tails. This step is probably the most tedious, but it's also mindless, so it pairs nicely with a movie. Make sure it looks good from both sides as you weave in the ends. Now we're ready for the fun part. We need to prepare the yarn that will be woven through the grid we just created. Cut pieces of yarn 168 inches long. 168 inches also happens to be 24 inches times 7, so I used my 2-foot quilter's ruler to streamline things. Be careful not to stretch the yarn when measuring because this will make the strand too short. After cutting each piece, I found it helpful to fold it in half because we will be using them doubled up, and then wind it into a loose ball. You will need 19 white pieces, 18 yellow, and 4 red. We'll be weaving the yarn doubled up, so thread the 2 cut ends through the eye of the larger yarn needle. Then starting at the edge of one end, simply weave the yarn through back and forth, pulling it through until the loop is about 9 to 10 inches from the end. When you get to the other side, make sure the cut ends are at least 12 inches from the end. We will be tying them into a loop later. When you go to weave in the second strand of yarn, weave it like pie lattice. So if the previous strand went under, this time go over and vice versa. Make sure the looped end matches the first, then weave it through to the other side. Continue weaving the strands following the same pattern as you did the rows. 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, 3 yellow, 1 white, 3 yellow, then end with 2 white, 1 red, 2 white. Once you get the hang of things after a few strands, turn the scarf around every other strand, that way you end up with some loops and some cut ends on each side. It's hard to get the loops to measure the same consistently because the yarn is a little stretchy, but a general 9 to 10 inches works great. Once the fringe gets twisted, the small discrepancy is not noticeable. Almost done. As you can see, the cross strands really transform the look of the scarf. That said, here's where I admit I made a mistake. I have an extra row of boxes that starts about halfway through. I blame my late nights crocheting and not counting my stitches. Normally I would pull it out and redo those rows, but I really didn't want to, so I'm going to show you how I sort of fixed it by blending it in. Because the pattern is busy, only the gaps are really noticeable. I decided to work the second to the last line to be identical to the previous line, just where there are extra boxes. I threaded a single strand of yarn onto the yarn needle straight from the skein and pulled enough yarn free to be double the length of my extra row. Then I wove it through the same way as the previous line. You can see how it matches instead of alternating. When I reached the end of the extra row, I sewed down and around the last stitch to anchor the strand of yarn in place. Then I doubled back and wove the single strand back to the beginning following the same pattern as before so that the strands are effectively doubled up. Then I trimmed the starting and ending strands a few inches longer than the looped pieces. As you can see, it's noticeable up close, but far away it blends right in. To finish the scarf, I went back to business as usual and wove in the last strand in an alternating pattern. All that's left now is the fringe. We basically want all the fringe to be loops. So for the cut ends, we are going to tie them into a loop with a magic knot. I have a more instructive tutorial on this, which I will link to in the pattern on my website. But here's essentially what you need to do. Set each strand horizontally and parallel to each other. Loop the top strand over and under the bottom strand to form this lowercase D shape. Then insert the end through the loop and pull through to tighten this first slip knot. Use this first knot to lengthen or shorten the loop as needed. Then it's time to knot the bottom strand. This time, loop the bottom strand up and under the top strand, now part of the loop, to create a P shape. Insert the end through the loop and pull it tight to form a second slip knot. Pull the slip knots together to form a magic knot. It's magic because it will not come undone even if you cut the tails really close to the knot. Trust me, once we start twisting the fringe, you'll know if you've done this right. Once both ends of the scarf are all tied into loops, we're ready to twist the fringe. Optional, place a heavy book just before the fringe to prevent yarn from getting pulled too tightly or causing puckering as you twist. As you can see, I've already twisted some pieces so you know what it will look like. Take a loop and insert your finger, then twist about 30 times. The twisted yarn should feel very tight, but there should still be room for your finger at the bottom of the loop. Now grab your hook and insert it through a stitch at the edge of the row aligned with your piece of fringe. Place the bottom of the twisted loop onto the hook and pull it through the stitch just until you have an open loop on the other side. Take the twisted loop that is now folded in half and insert the folded end through the loop. You are essentially securing it in place with a luggage tag knot. The knot may take some fiddling to get it to lay flat. Likewise, the fringe may need some extra twisting or even untwisting until it looks good. Here's another view of how to twist the fringe if you need more clarification. Repeat for all the loops and you're done. Because we used soft DK yarns, the scarf is nice and dense, but with a lovely cozy drape. For more tutorials and free patterns, visit DeliaCreates.com.